help me get these kids under control. I put myself on purpose with Sister Vicki Vernon because I was like, everyone's going to want to go hear her. I'll have an easy class, but we have so many people here this year that I think all the classes are full, so we're just going to get in here nice and cozy. My granddaughter, that's what she says, Gigi, she climbs up in the bed, we read stories. Let's get cozy. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to give everybody just a few more minutes. I think the Kids View Live went a little bit longer, but I came in here just to start getting ready. And if y'all were in Brother Bullard's session, the Lord fell. I mean, he came in this room. I could feel it walking down the hall. It was awesome. So that's good. That means that overflow is going to help me out this morning. Brother Robert, are you my camera guy? Okay. Do I need to wait for a particular time or it's running? Okay. Come in, find a spot. There's seats over on this side. We've got our On Alaska group. Hi, guys. And down here. Awesome. Amazing church. Oh, my goodness. Y'all are going to hear from them later about their bus ministry. Fantastic bus ministry. Okay, I've got a lot to say, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. If people come in, hey, we're adults, we can tune them out. Can somebody go ahead and just kind of pull the door to just a little bit? That'll help my distraction. So this morning, can y'all hear me okay? I'm a little soft-spoken. Everyone can hear me? Is this on? Oh, I think. I'm going to throw a lot of seed out. And, not everything is going to impact you, but I think something will. I'm going to say a lot of stuff. So I hope that I can encourage y'all this morning. I'm going to get to teaching tips in just a minute, but I want to start with something that I heard about a year ago, and it just really impacted me. And when I applied it to my own class, I was like, man, this is useful for any ministry. So I'm going to share that with you. And I have new glasses. They're just cheap little bifocals. I'm probably going to do a lot of that. Okay, so get ready for the harvest. And that is, I keep hearing that. None of us speakers, we don't get together and say, what are you talking about? What are you going to say? We just do our notes. And so I'm making copies. I'm like, oh, yeah, I said that. Oh, I've got that. Oh, they're saying that. The Lord just meshes it all together. Isn't that awesome? So I heard this. A pastor was speaking about his time as an evangelist. He went to a church that had experienced a wonderful time of harvest, where over 30 people had received the Holy Ghost and been baptized in a relatively short period of time. Before service, he went over to the pastor and he said, can you direct me to the people that have come in, that I want to disciple them, I want to meet with them? And the pastor said, he kind of was a little sad. He said, a lot of them aren't here. They didn't stick. Just a few of them have stuck around to be rooted and to grow. So they're not coming to church on a regular basis. And so he thought, to only have a couple out of 30, I mean, that's not a healthy retention rate. We need more. So he said, and that, not to pick on that church, this happens in lots of churches. We see people, they come in, they get the Holy Ghost, and they never come back. Well, he went on to make this point. Jesus said in Matthew 9:37, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Pray, therefore, for the workers to go into the harvest fields. We are the workers. The harvest is ready. So are our prayers a little misplaced? We're praying for revival. Lord, send revival. I'm believing for revival. We're kids out there. So pray for the workers to go out for the Lord of the harvest. He's the Lord of the harvest, not us. And if it's ready, let's go out and reap it. So how does this apply to our classes? I want to challenge you today, and this is what I started doing with my own class. Get a vision. If you have 4 or 5 in your class now, ask yourself, what would my class be like with 10? What do I need to do? What do I need in place if my class doubles quickly? Yeah. Is it scary? Is it a little scary? Is it like, oh, heaven, help, dear Heavenly Father? So, or if you go to a large church and you have, 20 or 30 children, what would you do with 50 children? The evangelist went on to say he compared the churches, the first church that he went to that he was preaching at, with Stockton, the Haney's church in California. For as long as I've been Pentecostal, the Haneys have had a big church. So I don't know when they experienced their growth, but they planned for it. It was steady. It was consistent growth. They had programs, things set in motion so that when the new converts came in, it didn't shock them. They absorbed them. It was like a well-oiled machine. And so they could just move along, nothing. So how is that? How are our children's departments? Would this kind of growth, would it shock us? Can we absorb it? Would there be issues? Let's figure out what those are and fix them before because they're coming. They're coming. It is going to happen. It was prophesied. It was going to happen. So I think that churches that are not ready are going to have revival, and they may experience what that other church did. They're not going to stick. But the churches that are ready we're going to have great growth, and it's going to be awesome. So I just wanted to start with that. That stuck with me, and it's helped me. I just started teaching the kindergarten class on Wednesdays, and I've got Savannah right here. She's my helper. I've taught on Sunday morning before. In fact, that's all I've ever taught was on Sunday morning. I've taught every age level. Do I have any Wednesday night teachers? You Sunday teachers have it easy, okay? Wednesday nights, wow. It's madness. So I have taken my strategies this worked on Sunday morning. What in the world? Why isn't this working on Sunday night? On Wednesday night, I've had to modify a few things. But it's okay. It's okay. We love them, and we're thankful for a Wednesday night program. Help, I think, for our own program on Wednesdays, we do need help. We need more help. I think that's the number one thing. If you have a lot of children, try to pull in help because you need help. You can't successfully teach 50 kids or 20 kids, even 20 with one person, especially if you have a wide age range. And I'm getting into other parts of my lesson, so I need to get back to my notes. Okay, so wherever you are right now, see it bigger. And I'm going to move on from that because I have a lot to say. So I'm going to share some of my own personal teaching testimony because in doing so, I can tell you what not to do. From my own experience, I know strategies that do not work and behaviors and patterns that we can get in that do not work. And not every one of you we all have different personalities and we all have different ways of teaching children. But I bet in a class this size, some of you were like me, and it's cringy. I was cringy. I cringe when I see people that do what I used to do. I'm like, oh, don't do that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So here we go, real quick. My story in children's ministry began with my pastor asking me and Conlon to begin teaching the tweens class. It was a problem class, and I thought I saw his brother Evans in here. Did he go? Anyone know the Evans personally? Yes, they're amazing people. So we taught with them. First class, we taught with them, just fantastic. So it was a problem class. It had a lot of teacher turnover. One of the reasons was the size of the class. There were over 20 kids, like 25 kids, and it was set up lecture style. So even tweens, they're going into youth. But they're still children. It's an in-between. It's a transition age. And that's just a bad setup to have. But that was back in the 90s, and it was common back then. So we assisted the Evans, and she just got a hold of that class. She's like, we're not lecturing. That's not going to happen. So she divided the room up into stations and decorated each area. Again, this was the 90s, so decorating all out was kind of, that was the first time I'd ever seen that. I was raised Baptist. We had a bulletin board with a few words on it. That, nothing against that, but that's just all I had in my Sunday school classrooms. So when she started, and she's incredibly talented, so when she started decorating, I was like, wow, this is like Disneyland in here. This is amazing. And the kids walked in, I'll never forget it. I mean, they had that experience too. It was like somebody took the time, and they were just in awe. Gone were the chairs like this, and now there were maps and games and boom boxes, and it was, all little stations. It was fun. So what happened, the class was transformed. What was wild and unruly and boring became structured and fun in that rotational style. And we didn't have children's church, so we had them for a long time. We had them like an hour and a half. And so really, if you have kids that long, you've got to have, we all know now, because Sunday school has changed so much since I started 30 plus years ago, you've got to keep them moving. So you would think that was my first teaching experience, that I would go on to be just better and better, trained under the Evans, and no, it was awful. A year after teaching the tweens, Brother Gurley, that's where we're from, by the way, we're native Houstonians. Brother Gurley asked Conlon to begin a children's church program. Again, we knew nothing about children's church, just like we knew nothing about Sunday school. But he gave us, we had mentors for Sunday school. We had no mentors for children's church. It was just like, throw you in there. You can do it. So children's church at this time was really just beginning to become popular. Conlon had never been to an official children's church service, but he was a natural. He instinctively knew to have action songs, object lessons, play games, dress up for a lesson, make it interesting, have prayer and worship time. I, however, was not a natural. I had great expectations. I had unrealistic expectations. I thought the children should sit still, keep their hands to themselves, not poke their neighbor, only speak after raising their hands, keep their feet on the floor, never need to go to the bathroom, participate in every action song, listen to every word of the lesson, pray until the rapture ready, worship like there's no tomorrow, have a good time, and do not whine or complain. Do you think that's what happened? No. It was a disaster. It was a cycle of frustration and disappointment for all of us, for me and the children. They didn't do what I expected. I fussed and fussed. They would get quiet for a minute or two, and the chaos would begin again, over and over, Sunday after Sunday, lecture after lecture. Children do not respond to lectures. I just knew one day if they would get it if I just kept lecturing. No. When we go into lecture mode, they tune us out. But if there are clearly defined rules and consequences that are enforced, there's no need for lectures. There are some things that we lecture about that we should really be teaching instead of lecturing. There's a difference. Lectures are for college, not Sunday school. So in my ignorance, I did a lot of lecturing. I wasn't a teacher. I was a drill sergeant. And the problem was not the kids. The problem was Jennifer Jones. Now, if you would have told me all those years ago, over 3 decades, that I was going to go on to be in children's ministry for 3 decades, I would have said, no, I'm doing this out of obedience to my pastor. No. But what I didn't know back then that I know now, it was a part of God's plan. He was ordering my steps. That was just the beginning of my journey. And I thought I was teaching out of obedience, but it ended up being my calling. I kind of wish I had known that, you know? But that was part of the journey, finding that out, that this is my calling. So fast forward to present day, and teaching is not a chore anymore. I don't teach out of obligation. I love teaching children. I look forward to my class on Wednesdays. What changed? How is that possible? I need a tissue. I think there's one back there. No. Oh, you're back there. Bring me one. Thank you, Brother Robert. So how is that possible? It's possible because God put the ability and the passion to teach inside of me. Even when I didn't know those things were in there, He knew. He knew because He put them in there. When I didn't want to teach, they were in there. When I was a terrible teacher, they were in there. The ability to do it was inside of me all along. God loves the process. He's all about the transformation and the growth and the learning. We are more concerned about the destination. We just want to hurry up and get to wherever He wants us to go. But God is concerned about the process. So now when I see someone starting out in a particular ministry that may be struggling, I remember my experience and how terrible I was. And I think, what if I had written off? What if I had been written off? What if God had said, she is terrible at this. I've got her. I put the wrong thing in her. He didn't say that. He was so patient. It's like, Jennifer, come on. One day you're going to get it. When you get it, you're going to be a really good Sunday school teacher. And it's all because of Him. It's because I allowed Him to take me through the process. So real quick, I just want to throw this in here. This is from an old lesson. I kept it. Remember the caterpillar. If you are frustrated week after week and feel discouraged, caterpillars are caterpillars until they're transformed into butterflies. And the ability to be a butterfly is in the caterpillar all along. When it's sitting on the leaf, eating away, preparing for the cocoon stage, there's a butterfly in that caterpillar, but it must go through the transformation process before it can emerge. So if you're a butterfly, or if you're a caterpillar this morning, take heart. There is a butterfly inside of you because God put it there. The transformation process for me, from being a burden to a blessing, what I learned in my process. This is the number one frustration buster. Have realistic expectations. If you want to grow your frustration, have unrealistic expectations. If you want to bust that, okay, have realistic expectations. What are they? Children are not going to sit still and hang on your every word for 30 to 45 minutes. I think we all know that. We've experienced that. They're not going to want to play every game. They're not going to want to sing every song. They're going to want a drink of water and go to the bathroom. So think about, structure. That's on us. They're just children doing their children thing, their childlike things. So plan for those things. We're going to have bathroom time. You need to go before class. Make it. I'm going to repeat myself a lot here in this next section. Give instructions. How do you want the flow of your class time to go? Lay it out and then give them clear instructions. I'm going to give you some examples so you can see things we say and we wonder what's wrong, and it's the way we're saying it. It's not the kids. It's how we're saying it. And I'll give you some examples in a minute that you can relate to. So a Sunday school teacher's job is to create a safe, pleasant, and godly learning environment, a classroom where the kids can learn but still be kids. Remember, children have to go to school, but they don't have to go to Sunday school. So we want them to want to be here. How do we do that? How do you balance control of the classroom with fun, interactive, and anointed teaching? What helped me was taking the Mary Poppins approach. Now, I'm going to just put a little disclaimer in here. I was raised Baptist. We had a television. I saw Mary Poppins as a child many, many times. So for me, sometimes we all have different things that help us change. For me, I identified with her. I was like, okay, what was her approach? I could see something that I needed to use in her character to help me change. So, so this is what I did. First, though, real quick, just because it's fun, I'm going to go through quickly the Mary Poppins story. In case y'all are all familiar with, you can, yeah. So she saved the Banks family from themselves. Jane and Michael Bakes were two active children with healthy imaginations, which most of us have in our classrooms. They were a bit unruly. Also, we have those in our classrooms. No one wanted to watch or care for them. Dad was too busy. Mom was too busy. They couldn't keep a nanny due to all the children's shenanigans. So the nannies would quit. Sounds like some of our Sunday school teachers. The story opens with Katie Nana quitting. She was the sixth nanny in 4 months. Mrs. Banks had been in charge of hiring the nannies, and Mr. Banks thought she was failing miserably. So he set out to find a proper British nanny with a listing, and this is how it went. A British nanny must be a general. The future empire lies within her hands. And so the person that we need to mold the breed is a nanny who will give commands. Can you hear it? I can hear it. A British bank is run with precision. A British home requires nothing less. Tradition, discipline, and rules must be the tools. Without them, disorder, catastrophe, anarchy. In short, you have an awful mess. Now, the children also set out to find a nanny. They wrote a listing, but theirs was quite different. Theirs said, if you want this choice position, have a cheery disposition, rosy cheeks, no warts, play games, all sorts. You must be kind, you must be witty, very sweet and fairly pretty. Take us on outings, give us sweets, sing songs, bring treats. Never be cross or cruel, never give us castor oil or glue. Love us as a son and daughter, you get the idea. It was quite different from Mr. Banks' listing. How many of us are Mr. Banks? I was Mr. Banks. So, who was Mary Poppins? As we see the story, read the story, because it's also a book. As her time with the family unfolds, we see she is actually the perfect combination of both requests. She is firm but kind. She requires respect, but she also has fun. She expects the children to clean up after themselves, so she is instilling those strong character traits that Mr. Banks wanted, but she does it by singing songs and playing games. So at the end of the story, when she leaves the family, she has accomplished what she came to do, which was bring the family together. How did she replace the chaos with order and peace while still having fun? The secret to her success is no secret. Strip away all the creative aspects of the story, the tea parties on the ceiling, singing with penguins. Take all that away, and what she did was the tried and true combination. Rules with a relationship equals results. So to help me change my drill sergeant behavior and expectations, I thought, what would Mary Poppins do in this situation? How would she handle this class? And the first time I did this, consciously, I was teaching the tweens. It was all I had ever done was teach tweens. And I had gotten very comfortable with that class. I wasn't a drill sergeant. I was doing good. Because I'm a better Sunday school teacher than I am in children's church. And it's okay. Know your strengths. That's good. So I like that one-on-one teaching. The group thing kind of stresses me out a little bit. So I was good with the tweens. Well, the primary class was a challenging class, and so the teacher was very young. It was a wild class. It was an interesting mix of children. There was one on the spectrum. There were 2 bullies who I found out years later were actually being abused. I did not know that at the time. There was a child with a severe mood disorder. 2 children that have above average intelligence. Very smart kids are hard to teach. They ask a lot of questions. They get bored very easy. You think, if they were just every child has something, you've got to figure out how to relate to what does that child need. So that was in one class. I mean, all these different types of issues in one class. So I knew that before class time, there were some of them that got there early, about 9:30, and the class started at 10. And it was dodgeball. They had a big beach ball, and they would play just dodgeball with this beach ball. Well, I knew that was not going to happen. No matter how much you prepare, I'm prepared for my class. You go in at 9:30, class starts at 10. You've got things to do, things to just get all in order. So I was like, they cannot be playing ball while I'm trying to get the stuff together. So I remember standing outside the door. I could hear them playing ball. There's about 4 boys in there, and it was going nuts. And I held on the doorknob, and I said, okay, Mary Poppins, here we go. And so I opened the door, and I said, hello. And I'm a dramatic person, so I get pretty dramatic with the kids. Hello, boys. How are you doing this morning? And Garrett had the ball. And he's just like, what is going on? What are you doing in here? I'm your new teacher today. Oh, okay. Well, we play dodgeball, Sister Jennifer, and so we're just going to, and I was like, no, not anymore. We're not going to play dodgeball anymore. Garrett, bring me the ball, okay? And he's just doing it. Like, what is going on here? This is the Twilight Zone. I said, and it's my tone of voice, I said, take that into Brother Conlon in the Kids U office because we don't need that anymore. We're not going to do that. Oh, but Sister Jennifer, it's so fun, and what are we going to do? And just don't worry about that. Just go get rid of the ball. I need you to do that for me right now, okay? Okay. So off he goes, and the other 3, they're still mouths gaping open. And so I had a big bag with me. I came prepared. I was not going to take away their fun activity and expect them to sit there for 20 minutes while I finished getting ready for class. It's not going to happen. Be realistic. So I brought my bag, and of course they're like, what's in the bag? And I go over, there's 3 tables, and I pulled out Connect 4, and I put it on one table, and I pulled out Uno, and I put it on another table, and I pulled out Sorry, I think, or Battleship, and I said, look, pick your game, play a game. You've got 20 minutes. If you throw any of the pieces, you cannot play the game. You will have to come sit up here and be quiet, have a little reflective time, because we're not going to throw anything, okay? And you smile. Affirm, that's Mary Poppins. And they did it. They didn't miss the ball. They had a blast. Played Battleship, did Uno, whatever, and I got ready for class. And we did that week after week. Sometimes I'd change it up. Now we have a different setup for before Sunday school. I won't go into that. That'll take too much time. But it worked. So I went in with a plan. Have a plan. If you don't have a plan, the children have one. Okay? You need a better plan than theirs. I heard a wise teacher say that, and I was like, man, that is so true. Have a plan. So this is what helped me change my drill sergeant behavior. When I could imagine, okay, what would she do? I can do that. And then I just I changed my pattern. And so then it just became instinctive. And so, I can feel myself every now and then, like the other Wednesday night, I walked in, one of our 5-year-olds was sitting back there. And I gave him clear instructions. I'll get to that in a minute. And he was just sitting up there, and he was the hand was right there. He was going to start touching all those knobs. And I don't know anything about all that. And I was like, and I was like, Riker, no, get out of there. You've got to go sit down. And so he just kind of, I was probably a little overboard. So every now and then that's my default position. I have to bring it back. No, be nice. Which I was nice, but a little too firm. You can be a little too firm. It's okay to have your mom voice, but tone it down. Yeah. Okay, so, okay, I've already done that. How do you get your class on the right track? So let me say this real quick about that. If you are, for that class, I had the advantage of being a new teacher. So it's easy if you're a new teacher to change things up because you're new. They don't know. It's like, okay, this is new. This is how we're going to do it because she's a new teacher. You can do the same thing even if it's you. You can walk in and say, today we're going to start something new. And you've immediately created anticipation and curiosity. Ooh, what's the new thing? Today we have rules. Yeah. Okay. Their face, it's great. They're like, okay. And we're going to enforce them, and it's going to be fun. Yeah. That's how you do it. Because this is what doesn't work. This was the old Jennifer. I said, sit down. What is wrong with you? And then they're like, oh. And for 2 minutes, they do it, and then they go right back in. But if you're and yes, you have to redirect, and yes, but just keep it, try to stay in this tone of voice right here. You will get there. You'll keep their attention. Sometimes I go home, and I feel like I'm still talking to the children. Noah, make your bed. And it's like, Mom. Actually, you know what? I so wish. I have wisdom with other people's children. It's like, I wish I could go back and do some of these things with my own kids. I would have been a better mother. Okay, so how do you get your class back on the right track? Number 1, I've already said, have realistic expectations. 2, be prepared. You have to have a plan. 3, pinpoint if there is a time you are losing control. Is it constant chaos? Or is there a particular time where things go crazy? For instance, on Wednesday nights with the 4 and 5-year-olds, everything would go along pretty good. I only have them for about 30 minutes because we start out with group activities and then we split up into classes. So we'd go back in there with tables, and the lesson would go good. If you teach 4 and 5-year-olds, you play and teach at the same time. That's how you teach them. So then we'd have snack time. Snack time was when I was losing it. They were losing. I wasn't losing it. You know what I mean? I lost control. And so I started listening. What was I saying? Okay, children, it's time to wash your hands. Go wash your hands. That's what I was saying. 5 kids, jump up, run to the sink, splashing water. I was here first. Chaos. It became like a little water fight. And then they go over and they get their paper towels and they start throwing their paper towels. And then they run all around the room. And it's like, to rein them back in, even though there's only 5 of them, it took 10 minutes. A 3-minute hand washing thing turned into a 10-minute fiasco. So I was like, okay. Think about what you're saying. Children, younger children especially, you give them a command and they don't process it. They react. Children are reactive. I'm saying, go wash your hands, and that's what they're doing. They're getting up. Hey, I can get out of my chair. She said to go do something. So now I say, we're going to wash our hands. Wait just a minute. So they're pausing. I want you to line up right here. Follow me one by one. I'm going to help you wash your hands. Then dry them, and then come sit down. If you're not sitting down, you can't have your snack. So give them an incentive. Anytime you can give an incentive, give it. They want to know what to do, and they want to get something for doing it. They just do. It's not bribing. You can bribe children, actually. It's not illegal. That's what I want to say. Just go ahead and give them an incentive to do whatever you're telling them to do. So I did that, and it helped tremendously. And did the kids change? Yes, because I changed. I gave them specific instructions. It's amazing they can follow. Yes, they struggle, and no, they're not going to do it perfect, and it's going to take a little time to get that right. But practice it. Don't give up. If the line isn't straight, if somebody They're going to fight over who wants to be the line leader and, figure out how to deal with that. But have a plan, give them instructions, and that's going to help tremendously. It sounds too simple to be true, but it's true. I'm not sharing anything with you today that I haven't tried. So next, give clear, I already kind of touched on this, give clear instructions. And also, listen to what you're saying. Are you saying a lot of don't do this and stop doing that? Try telling them exactly what you do want them to do. This works well with game time too. Explain. Game time I often see goes like this with teachers. Let's say you have a hula hoop game. You've got 2 hula hoops in your hands. And you call Jimmy and Johnny. Y'all come up here. We're going to play a hula hoop game. Susie and Sally, y'all come up here. Now you have 4 children, 2 hula hoops. You give girls a hula hoop. You give the boys a hula hoop. Now you have 4 children. Each group has a hula hoop. And you've said it's game time. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to start jumping in the hula hoop, throwing the hula hoop. It can be a time of chaos. And you're like, we just want to play games. Stop it. So, try this. Okay, children, we're fixing to play a game. Who's being good? Who's being still? I want all, be still. Oh, yes. Oh, y'all are doing so awesome. Okay, Jimmy and Johnny, I'm going to pick you. But wait just a second. You're going to come up here. I'm going to give you a hula hoop. And then tell them what you want them to do. Susie and Sally, okay, I'm going to pick you. I'm going to give you a hula hoop. And then when you come up here, this is what I want you to do. Now, when they come up, they know what you're doing. They know the game. And then you can give them the hula hoop and say, okay, y'all have it. Are you ready? You've already given the instructions before they even come up. And so just changing how you're saying it, when you're saying it, is going to make a big difference. Little things, it really does help. I don't like all group games, like where the whole class, 4 corners. No, I hate 4 corners. I don't mind group games. My kids on Wednesday nights, they love I Spy. We play hangman with a Bible verse, and they love hangman. So you don't, the Kids View team, they're much younger. They love wild games. So it's a good thing I'm now on Wednesday nights, because it's like, I need calm. I don't want to play laser tag on Sunday morning. I want to play hangman on Wednesday night. But they like it. They do fine. It works. So if you have, we've gone to some churches that only have 10 or 12 children. And so they're like, well, everybody needs to play the game. No. You can have 2 or 3. And the kids like to watch. They like to cheer and, cheer for your team or do the game multiple times. If you're losing control at game time, modify that. Make a plan. How can we rein it in so they can have fun, but I don't lose control? Because once you lose control, it's so hard to get it back. So hard to get it back. Okay. Non-participants, I have a note on here, explain how to handle non-participants, but I really need to move on. I don't make kids play if they don't want to play. I was that kid. I didn't always want to play a game. I was self-conscious. So if you have a child that doesn't want to play, don't make them play. Don't force them to come up there. 9 times out of 10, I had one consistently that never wanted to play just because he wanted to observe and see what exactly is this game. What are they going to do? He'd watch it and go, oh, I want to play. And then he would play. Remember, you want the kids to want to be there. Okay, so make a list of classroom rules. No more than 5. Have them visible if possible. And so that they're we either have them on the screen. For Wednesday nights, I'm going to start putting them over there. These are my rules for Wednesday nights. And I teach anywhere from 4 to, we have a tweens teacher. So depending on who's available, I either teach 4 to 9 or just the 4 and 5-year-olds. So I say stay in your place. Stay in your space, I'm sorry. This is your space. Keep your seat in your seat. Be kind to your neighbor. And raise your hands before talking. So we do the little motions, and that helps them remember. So if you have older children, you can figure out a way to make the rules sound fun And don't do this, stop doing that, don't. Make it, positive like I just did. Stay in your space. Look, it's your bubble. Stay in your bubble. Don't pop your neighbor's bubble. You want to stay in your bubble. Think of a way to make it fun. I think I have them on the handout, which I did not pass out. They're up here. We will pass those out in just a minute. Yes, they are on there. And then have consequences. Consequences that you will enforce, or the rules mean nothing. Mine are, the first time I call their name, it goes on the board. The second time, they have to be corrected. I put a check by their name. And I know it's not ideal. You don't want to make them feel like, she put my name on the board. So Wednesday night, in fact, I did this. I said, look, we're not picking on you, honey. We want you to see your name so you can go, oh, I need to mine so I don't get a check mark. Say it like that. So it's not, if you see your name on the board, you better watch it. Then it's like, oh, how are you saying it? It's there, but don't be embarrassed. That's to help you. We want to help you. You're going to have fun. You don't want to miss what we're going to do. Okay. So now if we put a check mark by your name and then I have to say it again, I have to get a hold of Mom. I have to call Mom and Dad. So Wednesday we had the only people on the board were both 4-year-olds. Bless their hearts. They were so busy, and they were just 4, and they really weren't bad. But the older kids were like, he's not in his seat. He's yelling. It's like, oh, he's 4. But this is the rule. So, okay, Denham, you better watch it. It's the pastor's great-grandson. You better watch it. So 4-year-olds, if I have time, I'm going to get to 4-year-olds in just a minute. I don't like to contact the parents. If possible, what I really want on Wednesday nights, because we have one for Sunday morning, I want a Sunday school director, administrator, that you can send the kids to for reflection time, if you've got that, and especially for bus children. You really need someone, because they know, you're going to call Mom, that means nothing. Mom's not even going to care. So you need someone that they can go to where it's like, oh, wow, okay, I really can't do that. I have to, and they're going to have fun, and now they're having fun, and I'm not in there. And you want to make it like that. I'm so sorry, you're going to miss all the fun. Next time, you're going to do awesome, though. Yeah, you can do it. Just keep on being positive. Children, respond to that. The children that misbehave, they're used to being, they're like, I'm the bad kid. I'm always in trouble. I'm always in trouble at home. I'm always in trouble at school. Real quick, oh my goodness. Conlon and I were at a church not too long ago. And after service, a mother is dragging her child over to us. And he is like, I don't want to go. No. And so we're like, oh, okay. And she's like, pray for my child. Pray for my son. He has a generational curse. And we're like, our eyes, deer in the headlights, okay. And he's, very defiant. I get it. She's frustrated. She's overwhelmed. Oh, but I'm like, even if it's true, don't speak that to that child. No, honestly, he probably most likely, my mother's an LPC, I kind of know terms. He probably has ODD, oppositional defiant disorder. I've never seen a kid that defiant. He probably does have that. Don't spirit. If it's a generational curse, it's because it's genetic. We spiritualize everything. Yes, Satan goes around. Where can I get an opportunity? Oh, there's depression here. There's anxiety here. There's ODD here. And yes, he'll use that. But we can't pronounce things over our children and people. That just feeds it. So we prayed for him, and I think what she wanted was like, here, preacher, fix my kid. Pray this away. So I took her off to the side, and I was like, okay. I calmed them and I are both, there's about 10 things wrong with this situation, and 9 of them are you. So what I said was, please don't ever say that again. Please don't ever let him hear you say that again. If maybe when he's older, if but not now. If you think he has there is a generational curse, you have the Holy Ghost. Go into his room at night and break it. You're part of the generation. We can't break the curse. If it's generational, you break it. He's part of your generation. You can do that. And she's just, Second, there's a really good counselor here. I know him. I think you need to see him. If you have someone with ODD, they need help. The child needs help. The parents need help. It is a real thing and it's not just defiance. If you've ever seen it, it's defiance up here. I have never seen, I could see where somebody with, that wasn't knowledgeable would be like, that's a devil. No. It's a disorder. And yes, the devil can use it, but he's not possessed. He needs help. So anyway, I won't go into that's enough of that. But so be conscious of children and where they are and what they need. I want to say, if you do get into a situation, I've got this on your notes, where there is a child that just will not follow. They don't care that their name's on the board. They're not following the instructions. You want to de-escalate. You always want to try and de-escalate. And you don't want to get into you don't want a standoff situation. So you want to make it where it ultimately is the child's choice. I'm so sorry that you keep making this choice to not listen. And then, follow through with the consequences. If you have, there again, a Sunday school administrator or Wednesday night administrator can really be helpful in that situation, because it's somewhere where the child can go and know, this isn't acceptable, I can't act like that. But there is a fantastic resource, smartclassroommanagement.com, and I have it on your notes. I misspelled management, so it's a link, but you can't use the link on a piece of paper, obviously. Just spell management correctly, and it'll take you there. So important. You've got to be consistent, have rules, be consistent. Whatever, I don't have them listed right here, but y'all know what I've said. On Sundays, okay, 4-year-olds. Let me talk about them real quick. 4-year-olds really need, if possible, and I'm going to try to do this on Wednesdays, they need just a dedicated, it's kind of a lost age, I feel like, in children's ministry. They are too old for the nursery. They're well potty trained. They're way more advanced than a 3-year-old. They don't have the structure of kindergarten, so they're not as advanced as 5-year-olds, and it's hard. It's a tough age, and you're playing. You're doing a lot of playing with 4-year-olds. So if possible, have a class just for them. If you have a wide age group, like I do on Wednesdays, what I have tried in the past that has worked wonderful, little girls, what do little girls love to do? Be teacher, be mommy. Take your 7- and 8-year-old girls, pair them up with a little one. Hey, can you help Paul? I want you to help me with Paul tonight, okay? They will. Addie, I've got a little 7-year-old. She is hilarious. No, now be quiet. Listen to the teacher. And so it helps. Use your older children if you don't have help. That's just an option. Ideally, you want lots of help, but if that's not, you can use your older children that can handle it. You know if there's a child that can handle that kind of responsibility. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. I wanted to give you we just have a few more minutes for any questions or something I didn't cover. Do y'all have anything? No? I got it all? I think the thing that has helped the most with me is giving, the instructions, just giving clear instructions. And if you have, with my primary class where I had all those different personalities, the child with the mood disorder, and I'm calling it that. I'm not a counselor. I don't know. I'm just, based on some other information, I'm just kind of guessing that could be an issue. She's older now. But some days she'd come in and she would be fine. She'd be very busy and exuberant, kind of like manic. And then some days, just not even, just, are you there? There's no response. And so on those Sundays, I can remember one in particular, she went off into the corner, and she just sat down, and she did this the entire time. And I let her. I just let her be in her world. I didn't force her to do anything. So if you have children that you don't know what they're trying to process, I found out. And it's like, oh, my God, no wonder. No wonder her little life is crazy. So, try to be mindful. And then years later when I found out some other, I can't give too much information, this is being videoed, but some other situations about some of our other children, and it's like, wow, I had no idea that was going on. And it explains so much. One child, one of our bullies, when I started praising him, little things. I mean, look for something to praise them for. He picked up a piece of paper that one of the other students had dropped. Just out of instinct, he just picked it up and put it on the table. And I said, thank you for doing that. That was so helpful. And he was like, what? I picked up a piece of paper. Thank you, that was so wonderful. This is what happened after class, after Kids View, because we have Sunday school and Kids View. He came up to me. He said, Sister Jennifer, come here. He grabbed my hand. Come here. He took me to Mama. Tell my mom what I did. I said, oh, okay, I wasn't ready for that. So he was so helpful today. He was I'm kind of like, he picked up a piece of paper, and I'm just kind of elaborating. And then he started doing things. He wanted attention. He never got positive attention. And so I started and his behavior in my class changed dramatically. So those children that you are constantly writing, look for something positive. I don't want to say make it up, because you can't lie. But look for something. Say, hey, can you pick that up for me? Oh, thank you so much. You set them up. Set them up for praise, And you will be amazed at the transformation. And then keep doing it. Because they think they're the bad kid. Well, I'm the bad kid. I might as well be bad. It's like, no, I know you can do it. I know you can mind. Okay. Well, since y'all don't have any questions, oh. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm. Well, just off the top of my head, what I would say is, oh, Jesus made all of us so special. Isn't it amazing we're not all the same? That's so awesome. Look, I don't look like Susan. Susan doesn't look like me, or, I don't want to, Martha or Megan. Try not to use distinctive names. And just make that, a positive thing, the differences. Like, oh, okay, you don't know where that racism is coming from. It may be from home, unfortunately. And so you only have a short amount of time. You've got a little bit of time in the weekends to try and reverse that. That's challenging. But I would do that. In here at church, we're all the same. Jesus loves us all the same. And it's so awesome that we're different. I would just kind of maybe put it that way. I would put their name. I would probably call that out in a way of we can't. If they're calling names and being mean, then that goes on the board. You're not. That's not. We don't do that in this class. We're kind. So that they're not following the rules. If that's one of your rules, be kind. You're not being kind. I'm so sorry you're not being kind. You have your name on the board. You can do better, right? Because Jesus loves us all the same. So we're going to treat everyone just the same. That's what I would do. So, and if it continues, I mean, if I saw blatant racism, I would go straight to the parents. That's just what I would do because I wouldn't stand for that. So, if possible, that's not always possible. Okay. I hope that was helpful, brother. I don't know. That's a tough one. There are tough issues, and I don't know the answer to all of them. That's one we've not experienced. So if anybody else has a tip for him, you can find him and tell him your tip. Okay, so I think it is time to transfer 11:20. I think so. Thank you so much for coming. I hope I was helpful.